Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you have watched my video on the biggest mistake that stock market investors make over here, you know how important it is to have stop loss when you invest and trade. In this video, I'll share with you what a stop loss is, how to set stop loss in the stock market, and my stop loss strategy secrets that I have been implementing that has helped me reduce my risk and losses in the stock market. I'll share all of those with you right now. Let's take a look at what stop losses are and what is a stop loss order. A stop loss or stop loss order is an order placed with your broker to buy or sell your stock when it reaches a certain price. If you are buying a stock or have bought a stop loss will be an order to sell your stock when it reaches a certain price. If you are selling or shorting a stop loss would then be an order to buy your stock when it reaches a certain price. In this video, I will primarily refer to stop loss as a sell order because more investors and traders buy rather than short stocks. So we will be referring to stop loss as sell orders in this video. Just note that stop loss is not exclusively sell orders. It can also be used as buy orders. Just for this video, we are going to talk about the sell order part of stop loss. So a stop loss is an order placed with your broker to buy or sell your stock when it reaches a certain price. Now that we know what stop losses are, the next question is, what kind of stop losses do we use? So there are three types of stop losses: the percentage stop loss, the price pattern stop loss, and the average true range stop loss. The first stop loss we will take a look at is the percentage stop loss. For a percentage stop loss, we determine the percentage that we are willing and able to afford to lose in that investment or trade. For example, if you are taking a look at a $100 stock and you determine the percentage you are willing to risk is 2%, then 2% of $100 is $2. This means that you are only willing to lose $2 or 2% of the stock's value. You will then place your stop loss at $98. So let's take a look at some examples on how to use percentage stop loss. So this is the stock for United Health Group. So let's say we are interested in buying this company and we want to use our percentage stop loss. So how do we set our percentage stop loss? So if we are looking to enter at this point here, at this red candlestick, we first want to determine the lowest price of the candlestick. So for the lowest price is at the lowest part or the bottom of the wick. So the bottom of the wick will be around 296.07. So that is the lowest price of the candlestick, 296.07. Then the next thing we want to determine in setting up our percentage stop loss is to determine how much we are willing to lose for that particular stock. So in this case, let's say if we are willing to lose up to 2% of the value of that stock. So 2% of 296.07 would be, let's take a look. 2% of 296.07, it will be $5.92. So what this means is we want to set our stop loss $5.92 away from 296.07. So let's take a look what that number will be. So we want to set our stop loss at 290.15. So we want to set our stop loss at 290.15. So let's take a look. 290.15. Okay, so we want to set our stop loss at around this point, 290.15. So let's take a look at another example. Starbucks. Okay. Alright, so let's say we are looking to enter around this point, right? After this candlestick. So again, we want to determine the lowest price of the stock for that day. So the lowest price is at the bottom of the wick. So it's 92.8. And again, let's assume we are only willing to lose up to 2% of the value of that stock. So 2% of 92.8 will be 92.86. And then where we want to set our stop loss is 92.8 minus the 1.86. So we want to set our percentage stop loss at 90.94. So 90.94 will be around here. So we want to set our stop loss at around this point. So that is how we want to set our percentage stop loss. That is the percentage stop loss. The next stop loss is the price pattern stop loss. To use price pattern stop loss, we first want to identify our price charts for nearby support levels and place our stop loss just below that support level. To learn how to identify support levels, check out my video on support and resistance level on the top right of your screen. So for price pattern stop loss, there is two steps that we need to take. The first is to identify whether there's any support level close by to the current price of our stock. If there is, we then set our stop loss just below that support level. So let's look at some examples of how we can use price pattern stop loss. Let's take a look at how we can use the price pattern stop loss for Starbucks. Alright, so as you can see here, I have already identified the support level. So the support level is here because prices have tested here once, twice, and thrice. So let's say we want to enter the stock at around this point. So if we want to enter the stock at this point, where do we set our price pattern stop loss? We want to set our price pattern stop loss just below the support level. So the support level is at this point, right? 82.02. So where do we want to set our stop loss? We want to set our stop loss just below 82.02. So let's say we want to set our stop loss at around this point. So that is where we want to set our stop loss, 81.34. So let's take a look at another example of how we can set our price pattern stop loss. Let's take a look at Alibaba. Okay, so alright. So let's say we can see that there's a support level at this point, right? Because we see prices that testing once, twice, thrice, 4 times, and 5 times. So let's say we want to enter the stock at this point. So we already identified that the support level is at around this level, so 166. So where do we want to set our stop loss? So we want to set our stop loss just below 166. So let's say we want to set our stop loss at around this point. So we want to set our stop loss at 163.81. So that is how we want to set our price pattern stop loss. So the two steps are, the first step is we want to identify a support level first. If there's a nearby support level, then the next thing we want to do is set our stop loss just below the support level. That is how we use price pattern stop loss. The last type of stop loss is the average true range stop loss. The average true range or ATR of a stock measures the volatility and fluctuation of a stock over a period of time. So for the average true range stop loss, we want to place our stop loss 1 to 1.5 ATR away from our entry price. Similar to the price pattern stop loss, there are two steps we need to take when using the average true range stop loss. First, we need to determine the ATR of the stock. To determine the ATR of a stock or the average true range of a stock, we can use financial websites such as Finviz or our trading platforms. After we have determined the ATR of the stock, we now want to place our stop loss anywhere from 1 to 1.5 ATR away from our entry price. And that is how we can set our average true range stop loss. So let's see some examples of how we can use the average true range stop loss. So let's take a look at how we can set our average true range stop loss for this particular stock. So first, let's say we want to enter our stock at around here. So what do? Remember, we want to determine the lowest price first. So the lowest price for this candlestick is at the bottom of the wick. So it's around 204.9. Then the second thing is to figure out what is the ATR of the stock. So the ATR for this stock, in this case, we got this value from Finviz. So the ATR is over here. So it's 2.35. So where do we want to set our stop loss? So our stop loss will be 2.35 below 204.9. So let's calculate that. 4.9 minus 2.35. So we want to set our stop loss at 202.55. So 202.55 will be around this point at where my arrow is. So that is where we want to set our average true range stop loss. Let's take a look at another example. So this is applied materials. So again, let's say we are looking to enter the stock at this point. So we figure out the lowest point of the stock, which is around 62.45. And then the next step 2, is to determine the ATR for applied materials. So this screenshot is taken from Finbase. So the ATR is over here, right? So the ATR is 1.27. So we want to set our stop loss 1.27 below this price, which is 62.45. So let's determine where we should set our stop loss. So 62.45 minus 1.27. So we want to set our stop loss at 61.18. So 61.18 would be around this point at where my arrow is. So that is how we want to set our average true range stop loss. Now that we know the 3 types of stop losses, the percentage stop loss, price pattern stop loss, and the average true range stop loss, as promised at the start of the video, I'll share my stop loss strategy with you, how I set and place my stop loss in the stock market. So the stop loss strategy I use is a combination of the price pattern stop loss and average true range stop loss. What do you mean, Linus? How do I use a combination of these 2 stop losses? To explain to you, let me show you a couple of different examples to show you how I set my stop losses using the combination of that 2 types of stop loss. Alright, so let's see how we can use a combination of the price pattern stop loss and the average true range stop loss to set our stop loss in this case. So can you see that here we can draw a support level because prices have touched once, twice, and thrice. So let's say we want to enter the stock at this point, at this candlestick right here. So what do we want to do? We know that there's a support level at this point, right? So the support level is at around 84.2. Okay, so that is the support level at 84.2. So the next thing we want to do is to determine the ATR for this stock. So let's see the ATR. So the ATR is over here, right? So the ATR is 1.18. So where do we want to set our stop loss? We want to set our stop loss at 1.18 below 84.2. So let's take a look at what that price is. So 84.2 minus 1.18. 83.02. So we want to set our stop loss at 83.02. So 83.02 will be around here. So that is where at this point of my arrow, so we want to set our stop loss at around this point of my arrow. So let's take a look at another example. Okay, so this stock. So can you see there's a support level here and then the resistance level here? And then once prices broke out of the resistance level, it became a support level. So let's say we want to enter the stock at around this price at this point. So this red candlestick over here, right? So we know that the old resistance level at 26.1 has become a new support level. So what do we want to do? After we have determined the new support level, we want to determine the ATR for the stock. So the ATR for the stock will be around over here. So it's 0.56. So where do we want to set our stop loss? We want to set our stop loss 0.56 below this support level. So let's calculate what that number is. Minus 0.56. So 25.54. So we want to set our stop loss at around 25.54. So it will be around this point. So that is where we want to set our stop loss. So this is how we use a combination of the price pattern stop loss and average true range stop loss. That is my stop loss strategy. If you have enjoyed and learned something from this video, give it a like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell button so you won't miss videos like this when I release them. Which stop loss are you going to incorporate in your investing and trading? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the other videos. To your financial success.